And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this finally Friday, May 22nd, 1:06 in the afternoon. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our Ag Director Bridgette Readel, and we've got some rain in the forecast. Currently, right now, raining from stretching on a line from St. Cloud through Sisseton, Oaks, and Edgeley, now stretching up towards Jamestown. All of that slowly moving northward. We were expecting the rain to be in the FM area by now. It is just out to the west of the valley, but it's going to take a little longer than expected to get into the FM area. And temperatures quite a variety across the area. Where it is raining, temperatures in the upper 40s to near 50. In the far northern valley, northwest Minnesota, temps approaching 70. There's been a little more sunshine off to our north. So we'll see that rain spread in as we head throughout the afternoon. And we're looking at temperatures today. Again, all dependent on where you're at, but generally steady temperatures for the rest of the afternoon here in the FM area. And again, we'll see that rain spread in from the south over the next hour or so. And the heavier rains will be out to the west of the valley, out around Valley City, Jamestown, down towards Oaks and Edgeley. Those areas could pick up a half inch to an inch of rain as this rain moves northward throughout the afternoon and evening. Most of it will be north of the area as we head into about 9, 10 o'clock tonight. And again, I'm expecting about a third to a half inch from the valley eastward into Lakes Country. Again, heavier amounts out to our west. And then as we head into the upcoming holiday weekend, it looks dry. Saturday, we'll start off with cloud cover, see a little sun in the afternoon, mid-60s. And then Sunday, we warm up into the low 80s. And then Memorial Day looks hot with highs around 90. So, Bridgette, if you're waiting for the summer heat, it gets here. And it looks like it'll be here most of next week. I see a lot of 80s in the forecast all of next week.
Earlier today, I had a conversation with a farmer in Arkansas, as well as a certified crop advisor and crop improvement association guy from Mississippi. Just them talking about summer heat and humidity made me break out in a sweat and have to open a window. So I'm not really sure that I'm prepared for a Sunday afternoon 90-degree temperature situation.
Okay.
That's a big swing.
It is.
And for those of you who have not yet tested your air conditioner, might want to give that a try.
Make sure that's working. Yeah, you're going to need that early next week. I think the good news is the humidity levels won't be too bad with the heat. So we're not going to get the heat and the humidity, but we will definitely get the heat. Winds shouldn't be too bad. They'll be breezy, but they won't be overly windy, where a lot of times in the spring when you get the 80s or that heat, you're going to get strong southwest winds with it. It'll be a little breezy, but I'm not seeing it overly windy. And this rain should settle. There's still some areas that do need the precip, especially northern Minnesota and the northeastern part of Minnesota. Those areas are going to get some rainfall out of this. So the driest areas are even going to get a little bit of relief. So that's good news for everybody, for sure.
I know many people would say, I don't want the humidity. That's why they all go to Arizona, because it's dry heat. But we actually need some when it comes to some of our spray applications. Products like Liberty, known as glufosinate for a trade name, needs the humidity in order to work better. We need nice sunshine. We need some humidity. Those years where we had very low humidity during that spray window, I'm thinking about 2022, 2019, those were years that we did not have very good weed control with those products. So depending on the day, we'd certainly take the humidity. And I don't mean it has to be an 80% humidity, but I need it more than about 19. So if I could get somewhere in that 30 to 40% humidity, that's probably going to be a better sweet spot for us to get that accomplished.
Right. And, and this heat will help with the crops as well, which is,
there's plenty popping out of the ground.
Mm-hmm. So it's good to see some more consistent warm weather on the horizon. I think a lot of people have been waiting for it, and it's finally going to arrive as we head into the weekend and next week. And if you're after today's rain, it looks pretty dry until towards the end of next week. That's when we'll see our rain chances increase again in a scattered fashion. We're not looking at any one big storm, but a couple of rounds of thunderstorms late next week, but dry in between. So a little bit of rain today that will dry things out for about 5-6 days, and then a little more rain towards the end of next week.
Well, to put a smile on everybody's face, besides rain, when you get into Montana, they're always looking for rain because let's be honest, especially that western part of the Dakotas into Montana, they are more so one rain away from a drought more than anybody else. Well, Montana Department of Ag wants to make sure to put a smile on everybody's face outside of what's going on with the weather because they have a student loan assistance program and they have been accepting applications recently. This was determined back in 2019. Their legislature established it, gives student loan assistance to Montana's college educated youth who are coming back to the farm or ranch. This can help relieve some of that financial stress that's certainly faced by those who want to return into agriculture. Qualified farmers and ranchers are eligible for student loan assistance through the program for up to 5 years. The applicants have to be a Montana state resident, designated as the primary owner, heir, or successor of a farm or ranch, and they will have to have obtained their 2-year degree as an associate or their 4-year degree as a bachelor's from a Montana college or university and have agreed to operate their farm or ranch for the next 5 years. So I honestly think that's awesome. I think that is a great way to get more kids back to the farm. I applaud Montana's legislature and their Department of Ag of stepping up and trying to make that happen for more and more youth because we know that getting that college degree is not as cheap as some may actually think. So it's a great idea for them to be looking out for. Many of you join us on Fridays for Greg Hansen's Market Uncovered. He joins us at the 1:20 segment to talk about what's been happening in the commodity industry this week. Unfortunately, Greg is unavailable today, so we won't get that chance. From what I've seen, we saw a little bit of an increase in the wheat market because folks were probably thinking about what was happening with a just decimated wheat harvest in our traditional wheat states like Kansas and Oklahoma, where we see the hard red winter wheat coming off. So we've maybe seen a little bit of an uptick there. Corn has seen a bump as of recent dates, and there is a reminder out there from the National Ag Statistics Service that they are requesting survey information from farmers. And by that, they want to know about planted acres. From time to time, they'll ask about grain on storage. What are you seeing for yield and so much more? But after last year, there's a lot less trust that farmers have in what National Ag Statistics is reporting, especially when we saw so many wild swings in our corn yield bushels. And so I think that it's reasonable for NASS to ask farmers to reply to their surveys to give accurate information. I think the reality is NASS has some trust to build back with farmers who might want to be able to do that because right now we can only get accurate information if we're given accurate information, garbage in, garbage out kind of thing. And I don't think NASS is getting very accurate information as we're going into this planting season and the growing season for 2026. But the wheat tour has already started in some of those southern states like Kansas, and they have rated the majority of that crop as poor, which is unfortunate. We like to raise wheat in this country, and right now we are at the lowest amount of wheat acres than we've had since 1971. And we're going to see more wheat that's raised out of the country if it's needed. We certainly don't have the export business that we once did for wheat. Part of the problem was we went out and taught everybody how to raise wheat, so we don't necessarily need to raise quite as much of it ourselves. We are seeing some changes in planting intentions in the region. If you have areas that are still fairly wet, you get into the Devil's Lake area, they're only 30% planted right now. You have folks up there that are making the switch into some wheat out of corn because they don't want to fight the mud, and they're having trouble getting that planted. I think we're also going to see a slight uptick in sunflowers, especially if anybody can hunt out a great contract for it. And we'll look forward to seeing what those might look like as we go through the growing season. So keep an eye on the weather for the weekend. Those are some updates on what's happening for planted acreage and more. We will have an opportunity for you to call us today to visit. You can reach us on the JLA Insurance phone line. That number is 701-293-9000. Love to visit with you. Plus, we want you to know that JLA Insurance hotline is brought to us by Nate Thorsrud because he is a farmer too and wants to talk with you about your crop insurance needs. You can always send emails to Dean at weather@flagfamily.com. I'm ag@flagfamily.com. And I really appreciate a lot of the questions that I get from people. That helps us find great guests as well as topics to talk about and so much more. So keep those things up. And then also, you can be watching us on our live stream brought to us by Lighthouse Commodities. You can find us over there on Acres TV, Facebook, and YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe, like Addison said. It's a great idea to subscribe on YouTube. Then you never miss an episode and whatever antics we might be doing over here. And Addison, for the record, as we finished up our Jello conversation yesterday, I really hope you got to quench that thirst, so to speak, and get yourself some Jello.
I bought so many Jello cups yesterday. I went to Family Fest. I just loaded
All right,
up
did you
on
buy
Jell-O.
them for Jello shots or did you buy them for Jello with fruit
I was just buying
in
them for pure Jello joy.
Okay. Okay.
Will
was
you
like a
be
kid on
putting strawberries or
Christmas.
bananas in them?
I bought some that already had fruit in them.
Oh, you went the
Oh, goodness.
lazy way.
Yeah.
You got the high dollar stuff.
Well, it was a Thursday, not a Friday. I wasn't going to go all out yesterday.
Good point. Yeah.
Today is different.
Today might be a high dollar all out type of day. That's fair.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. We will probably talk more about that and a variety of other things when we return after the livestock report from the American Ag Network. Being it's Memorial Day weekend and so many folks are flying their flags, don't forget to get them up on your farm equipment. And we'll be giving you the opportunity to earn some flags as well. I'll be out here probably the first part of June, and I'll be handing out flags to flag farmers. You can put them on your equipment and hang them in the shop or put them up the flagpole in your farmyard. And I'll be doing that with Geronimo Power as well as with landmark companies to make sure that we can share those flags because they should fly high, not just for Memorial Day, but pretty much any time that we can. Also, take a moment to go to techsupport.farm and check out the fence check assessment. Some of you are already building fences, you're putting cattle back on pasture. You might be getting ready to put the garden up and you have to fix your fence. Why not fix the fence and any gaps that might be in it for your cybersecurity? And that's where techsupport.farm comes in. They will go through that analysis with you and make sure that you are well protected. And if you're not, what are some options to get there? Again, that's the fence check assessment with techsupport.farm. Addison, thanks for bringing up their website on the live stream. Appreciate that people get to see that.
It's always fun to put up a website on the live stream every now and then.
Although it's a challenge for you when we do On the Auction Block twice a month with Steffes Group. You try to get to the bottom of their website for all of their upcoming sales.
I don't know if anyone who's watched the live streams has like really paid attention when the Steffes website is up. That is a long website. That takes a long time to get to the bottom of it. Sometimes I let it keep scrolling even over our commercial breaks, and I still don't hit the bottom of it sometimes.
They definitely have an extensive amount of business, and in fact, we'll be joined by Brad Olstead next week. We will be talking more about what's going on in the machinery market with Brad, and that will be on the auction block on Tuesday after we return from the Memorial Day weekend. Well, not every country is celebrating Memorial Day, and in fact, Cuba right now is a little bit at odds. They have a pretty hard task in their agricultural world because of the U.S. energy blockade. What's happening is that they currently are running out of fuel in order to run tractors, and they're having to rely on hand labor to try to get anything done. It's an unfortunate side effect of what's been going on politically, and now we see poverty deepening, hunger increasing. You have a country there of nearly 10 million people. What's happening is that Cuba has spent over 3 months without a fuel shipment from Venezuela. That was a key supplier. There's threatened tariffs on that country as well if they sell oil to Cuba. Because the U.S. wants to see Cuba clean up their act. And right now, with these power outages, the unfortunate side effect that's happening with their agricultural system is if you have a perishable product such as milk, you don't have a way to cool and refrigerate that without electricity, without the fuel as well to do the harvest. Some farmers are trying to get things done by hand. They're asking family members to come on out and try to be a part of the process when they have timely crops, because the fact that they're in a southern climate and they have a bit of a fruit and veggie market, they're trying to get those things harvested now so they can feed people. But unfortunately, that's not working out as well as one might have hoped at this point, because even if you can harvest, it's not like there's a lot of money out there that's extra for people to be buying. So they are seeing right now that a lack of gasoline has also left those who typically haul food and fresh produce as well as other agricultural commodities without fuel to run their trucks. So we'll see when that blockade ends and how things change over, but right now there are some struggles going on agriculturally in Cuba because of that. So when you talk about subsistence farming and you make the leap to something that's happening very technologically advanced, it's a bit of it's something that's almost going to give you whiplash when you jump from one to the other, right? We're talking about subsistence farming in places like Cuba and Mexico. And then we can talk about gene editing crops. And really, there's a couple of differences here. When we get into some of the larger countries where we raise a significant amount of soybeans and corn, like let's say Argentina and Colombia, gene edited plants are reviewed and approved in just a matter of weeks. Not a big deal. They see that as technological advancement and help to their yield. But in much of Europe, by contrast, similar plants have really been swept into a regulatory system that was originally designed for a genetically modified organism, which is different from gene-edited crops. And that gives years of uncertainty for developers and investors alike. The contrast, of course, has less to do with science, but a whole lot more to do with the policy around it. Gene editing allows plant breeders to make very precise changes to a plant's DNA. It's like surgical changes, whether it's insertions or deletions on the DNA strands of those plants. It does not introduce foreign genetic material. So proponents really argue that the changes can mirror what might occur through traditional breeding, but it does it faster. Instead of having to raise the plant all the way to maturity to bring up the next generation. You can do these things more quickly through the greenhouse, advancing the technology in a much faster way. Now, regulators have been split over whether this oversight should focus on the final plant itself or the process that's tied to it, because under so-called plant-based systems, regulators really have to ask whether the end result poses any new risks compared to what they're doing with existing crops. A process-based system, which has historically been what's been used in Europe, that emphasizes how a plant was developed. Because gene editing relies on modern molecular tools, those edited crops have often been grouped in with GMOs, which they are not, regardless of whether the final plant contains any foreign DNA. It does not. And so there's a bit of a change coming, whether it's through the product or the process, and there's a big regulatory divide depending on what country that you're in. Now, that may give advantages. If you have Argentina and Colombia saying, this is fantastic, it's not the same as genetically modified, and we are ready to roll. We want to use this so we can increase our bushels and continue to expand our agricultural export business, versus what Europe is doing and taking a much more conservative approach and holding back and saying, you know what, we aren't sure how to regulate this. We aren't sure how we want to use this yet. And it's putting their farmers at a disadvantage, not being able to move so quickly through what's happening across the country. So whether you're for or against gene editing, again, it's like the surgical insertion of the changes on the DNA of the plant. You're not necessarily adding any foreign material to it. That's not what gene editing is about. It's about making sure that we can find the better traits within the plants in order to get them to be used sooner and bring things to fruition faster. It's all about that race of more yield, more bushels, and then also being able to capture those markets on a global level. Trump just came back from China. He had a commitment from China of $17 billion in agricultural products, which sounds tremendous. It's over a 3-year period. How much will that change, or how much will go forward in that agreement? Kind of remains to be seen. You know, we had a deal in the past where China was being held to buy a specific amount of soybeans, which especially impacted our systems up here in North Dakota, right? Because so many of our soybeans head west to the coast. China eventually did come good on that decision and did take a lot of those soybeans. But if we've made this $17 billion commitment, or they've made the commitment to us over a 3-year period, will they fulfill it? How long will it take? What if they don't buy anything 1 year, but they do a massive amount in year 2? Where does that leave us for forecasting, and how much is our inventory going to be held up? Also, China is a country that, whether they deny it in the public, they are an aging country, and their needs for our products are going to continue to go down. We really have to be looking at how many people can we be feeding, what other markets can we be going to in order to increase our export business. We know that China is always going to look for whoever's the cheapest to buy from, and it may not always be us. So we need to look at other markets more frequently, and that's where a number of these trade missions are coming in, that not only we're doing federally, but also through the states in order to try to move our products. Thankfully, we're very diverse in this state, and we can find new markets and try to grow them to be sizable in a more swift manner. Just a little bit of a commodities update, what's happening around the world globally. When we return, I think we're going to play a little game for some winners on the phone, so stay tuned to listen to win, and be ready with the JLA Insurance phone number of 701-293-9000.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus, 1:35 in the afternoon. Taking a quick look at radar. And we've got some moderate rain falling now from Gwinner up through Jamestown, moving almost in a northwesterly direction. Don't see that too often. There are some more showers developing now southwest of the FM area, out towards Fergus, down towards Elbow Lake, and stretching southward towards St. Cloud. All of that moving in a northwesterly direction. And again, the heaviest rainfall from this storm system is going to be falling out to the west of the valley, stretching again from about Oaks through Jamestown, Valley City area. Those areas expecting to pick up a half inch to an inch of rain, while in the valley and into Lakes Country, about a third of an inch, quarter to a third of an inch, something right around that general area. So everybody, it's going to be a widespread rain event. Everybody's going to get something with the heavier amounts just out to the west of the valley. So we're going to play a little trivia today. We normally don't on Friday, but it's a long holiday weekend. We'll be gone here on Monday. And this one has to do with the LRC. And we're going to throw in a little LRC gift package for you. And the question is, and again, 701-293-9000 is the number to call. And we'll take the first caller that has the correct answer. The question is, and I'll give you a leeway of 1 year. How's that?
1974.
Damn. All right. Addison wins.
Let's go.
Didn't even know the question, did you?
I didn't need to.
Good try, though. Good try. What year did Gary Lezak, what year did Gary Lezak invent the LRC?
1975.
I don't even think
Nice.
Gary was done with school by then.
Well, he was a prodigy. He was working on it early.
Yes, he was. 701-293-9000. Well, we've got a nice little LRC gift pack for you. What year? Wow. All right. What year was the LRC invented, according to Gary? Caller, you're on line one. What's your name?
Alan.
Alan. What year do you think Gary stumbled across and invented the LRC?
I'm going to guess 2017.
No, that is not correct. Good try, though. Good try. We got a caller on line two. Caller, what's your name?
Todd.
Todd, what year do you think Gary invented the LRC?
2012.
No, you guys are. Should I give a hint? Not even close.
That's a good hint.
That's a good hint. Not even close. 701-293-9000. We got a little LRC gift pack for you. What year did Gary invent the LRC? I'll give you a hint. I believe he was working in Oklahoma City at the time. It was at the start of his career, early in his career. We'll leave it at that, before he moved up to Kansas City. So there's a little more hints. 701-293-9000. What year, approximately, did Gary Lezak invent the LRC? Caller line one, what's your name? Hello, caller, what's your name? 3, 2, 1. Goodbye. All right, we've got a caller on line two. Caller, what's your name?
Alan.
Alan's back. All right, Alan, what's your guess?
1998.
No, Alan. Hey, you try again, though.
Hey, Alan, if you'd like, I'll give you Gary's number. Just give him a quick call. He's on vacation, but I'm sure he'll take it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Caller line one, what's your name?
Leah.
Leah, what year do you think Gary Lezak invented the LRC?
2020.
No, Leah. Good try, though. Good try. None of these guesses are close. I
mean, we've spanned a pretty good time frame here.
We have. What year did Gary stumble across and invent the LRC? Caller line one, what's your name?
Hank.
Hank, what year do you think Gary invented or stumbled across, I guess you could say, and thought, hey, there's something to this? The LRC, what year?
I'm thinking late 80s, maybe 88.
I'll give it to you. Yep. It was right around 87 that Gary stumbled across this. So
I was so close.
yeah, you weren't even close at it.
10 years.
Actually, I had a guy texting me. He had the right answer. Apparently, he can text faster than I can dial.
Oh, no. Oh, man. Well, Hank, congratulations. You know where our studios are at, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So,
In North Dakota, right?
yeah, just swing by here after Memorial Day anytime next week, and we'll have that waiting for you at the front desk.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks,
so
Hank.
much.
Have a good weekend. Yeah, it was mid to late 80s. He stumbled across it when he was in Oklahoma City when this freak ice storm came through. And it happened a couple more times during the winter. And he's like, well, wait a minute, something's up here. And bingo, that's when the LRC was first revealed. So, and then he's obviously refined that throughout the years.
Big thank you to Hank for playing along.
Yeah.
He took advantage of the JLA Insurance phone line at 701-293-9000. You all can. And Hank, appreciate you listening as well. Very, very much appreciate that. So, other things that are going on. How many of you have ever used social media to find a job?
Oh,
Hands
yeah.
up. Anyone?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Here's another way to do that. There is a young farmer in Texas. Well, I should say he's a young guy who wants to be a farmer. Connor Watts has realized that he doesn't necessarily have an in. He's not from a farming background. He has worked as an agronomist. He and his wife would very much like to join the ranks of full-time farmers, but he's looking for a way to do that. And in fact, he has begun through his social media to highlight land stewardship, work ethic, as well as their regenerative ag convictions in order to try to match with another farm who might be looking for someone who they could work for and eventually take over that operation. They want to find an established farm that they could buy out and make a part of their own. And he's so far getting some limited success, but I don't know that it's a terribly unique approach. As we look at statistics, they're all over the board, but one that stands out, 70% of U.S. farmland will change hands over the next 20 years. And we've talked about 15% changing hands in just the next 2 to 3. And Connor wanted to make sure he was on the forefront of that to get involved and have others reach out to him about the potential of getting in with a farm. Now, he's in Texas, and he's got a lot of experience with rice and cotton. I'm not sure if he's looking forward to coming to North Dakota, but if some of you are looking to give a Texan a hand up, you might say, he calls himself a farming nerd. He'd like to have a long-term career in farming and especially wants to include his wife with that. So he thinks he's got a lot of great hands-on experience, having been an agronomist, having a background as far as his education is in agronomy as well. He said he's willing to learn. So looking forward to seeing how his story progresses because, as you said, sometimes you can use social media to find a job. Maybe you can find social media to buy a farm. Kind of advertise yourself.
Interesting.
I'm not sure that there's a LinkedIn section for that yet.
Right.
Yeah, maybe there should be.
That's coming down the road, I'm sure.
Never know. I was in a discussion this morning with those two gentlemen from Mississippi and Arkansas, and we had a discussion about, like wind towers and all the things that are coming to play in farmland. And I think the thing that we forget is so often you hear, well, farmers put them on their field. But actually, there's more private land ownership than there are farmers who own the land. And by that, I mean it. If I'm farming the land, but Dean owns it, I'm the farmer on it, but he's still the landowner. And so those decisions are made at the landowner level. And sometimes the landowner, especially if they're not living close by to it, say, but I'm maybe willing to do the improvements. Maybe I want the dollars off of the wind tower. But also when it comes to culverts, drain tile, putting in tree rows, that's got to be a decision by the landowner. And sometimes they want to participate, sometimes they don't. So there's yet another aspect of a difference between when you're farming and you're renting the ground versus being that private landowner and what has to happen with the ground as well. More headlines to come. We'll watch that radar for you as we see whether or not we're going to get rained on very soon. So far, nothing at my house, but it looks like it's creeping on in. And we'll have those discussions when we return after this.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. 1:49 in the afternoon. We have rain on radar. Moving northward, it's raining moderately right now. Let's zoom in on radar. Stretching from about the Oaks-Gwinner area northwestward through Jamestown. Valley City seeing some light showers. Some light showers down to our southwest around Fergus, moving up towards the FM area. So I'd say within the next half hour, we should start to see some light rain showers enter the area, and those will be increasing as we head throughout the afternoon and evening. I know I've had quite a few people email me asking, are the Red Hawks going to get their season opener in this evening? I don't have any call on that, but more than likely it is going to be raining at game time. So whether they delay it or make it a doubleheader tomorrow, we'll see. But it definitely looks like it will be raining at first pitch. So we'll see what happens. But rainfall out to the west of the valley, again, out towards that Valley City, Jamestown area. Those areas could pick up half inch to up to an inch is not out of the question. While you get a little closer to the valley, we're looking at more like a third of an inch from valley into lakes country. So, but this is going to be a widespread rain. This goes all the way out into the western part of the state, from Bismarck up towards Williston, where they need the rain, out towards Dickinson. And this will extend also into northern Minnesota, where they very badly need some rainfall. From northern Minnesota into the Arrowhead, those areas will get some rainfall out of this system as well. So good news for everybody in regards to the areas that need the precip are going to get it. And areas that have gotten the precip, the heavier amounts, look like they'll miss out on the heavier amounts this time around. So kind of evening things out for everybody.
Okay, hands up. How many of you are raw milk drinking fans?
Never tried it. Addison?
Dean, you're not on camera, but I want you to put your hand down.
Well, it's just kind of hanging here, so.
I take my milk 2%, if you please.
Yeah.
I will take mine 2% as well.
How bad is raw milk? Well, first off, it's obviously not refrigerated, but
Oh no, it's refrigerated. It's not pasteurized, and I'm
Well-
not going to say it's bad. Okay, so like if you grew up and I grew up on a dairy farm,
Mhm.
we actually could drink milk out of our bulk tank if we wanted.
Oh.
But my mom we had a home pasteurizer. I still have it actually. It's a gallon-sized bucket. We would take this little stainless steel bucket and fill it with milk, bring it into the house, put it in the pasteurizer, put its lid on, turn it on, and it would literally warm the milk to 161 degrees. That kills the bacteria. That's part of what's naturally occurring in the milk. And the reason pasteurization came around well over 100 years ago was to stop people from dying and being sick from foodborne illnesses. So a lot of things went to pasteurization. Milk was simply just one of them. Pasteurization is only heating the milk. We're not adding chemicals to it. We're not doing anything crazy like that, right? There can be vitamin D added. There can be other things done, but that's not part of the pasteurization process. Pasteurization is just warming it up. Now, if you want to drink raw milk, go right ahead. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's not the same as what you think it is at the grocery store. Through that process where you're taking direct from the cow, whatever that cow ate is what that milk's going to taste like.
Ooh.
So if she's eating alfalfa and corn, that seems sweet, right? That's going to be a good deal. Wild garlic is real. It's an actual plant. And if that cow eats wild garlic, what do you think your milk's going to taste like?
Ooh.
So there can be variability in your flavors of milk when you're getting raw milk. Now,
okay,
a biologist, go
Addison's
ahead.
got a question, but he's afraid to ask, so I am going to ask for him. If the cow
Addison rolled his eyes. I heard it here already.
if the cow eats chocolate, will it taste like chocolate milk?
That really was my
So
question.
you can have
That really was his
A pre-
question too.
Is this how they
a
make chocolate milk?
pre-dunked Oreo.
Yeah.
Is this how they make strawberry and banana milk as well?
Well, we've talked about it. Cows like sweet things, like they'll eat cookies. If you leave your little Debbie snack unattended, it's gone. So you could be adding a little
There
sweetness
you
to it.
go.
Okay, to be fair, I haven't spent a lot of time around cows, but I have spent some time around them. In my experience, if you leave anything around a cow, it will be gone.
Yes,
Same thing
yes,
with
they
goats.
will lick it, eat it, rub on it. Goats are worse. Goats are jerks. We've talked about this. Now, a biologist, she's a biology professor over at the Washington University in St. Louis, made this comparison. If you want to drink raw milk, and she's very much in favor of pasteurization, you need to ask yourself this question. If you wouldn't lick a cow's udder, why would you drink raw milk?
Fair.
Let that sink in.
Fair.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm not telling people that they shouldn't buy raw milk. I mean, you can buy cigarettes, you can buy alcohol, you can buy all sorts of stuff. And if raw milk is the thing that you enjoy, go for it. But I wouldn't recommend starting that cold turkey, if you will, because there's going to be some changes to how your body processes it. If you're used to having pasteurized milk and there's a potential of some bacteria, which the potential for that is far lower now than it was 100 years ago when we started pasteurization, then our hygiene standards have improved tremendously. But remember, that can be different on how your body takes it in. And if you have a potential for a bacteria to go along with it, as an adult, you can really hold that off. Your body can fight that with a better immune system. So raw milk for kids can be questionable because their bodies aren't quite as good at this sort of thing. They're not quite prepared for it. So we know that there's a lot of states that have legislation pending right now talking about raw milk. In North Dakota, you can buy raw milk now. It used to be you had to own the cow in order to get raw milk. You couldn't actually just buy it from somebody else. But know the rules, know why you're doing it. I think it's important to understand what pasteurization really means before you rush out and make a decision on which one you're getting.
Now, when you say raw milk, Bridgette, are you talking about pasteurized raw milk or unpasteurized?
Unpasteurized. Raw milk is not pasteurized.
Okay.
Yeah, it is very much fresh out of the cow. Probably chilled, but by the time you get it.
Can you bring some in for Addison and I to try?
No, I don't think I would try.
Oh, come on.
I'm
Live
not
a little.
nearly that adventurous.
All right.
I do have
Well,
a question, though.
Sure.
How thirsty was the guy who discovered that cow's milk was drinkable? Because it must have been very.
Yeah, right.
I just want to know how that first interaction went.
Okay, if we're going to ask those types of questions, as a kid who moved up here from South Central North Dakota, and my first job took me to living in Hillsboro, and I went to church, and on Sunday for fellowship, somebody brought a cinnamon swirl bread with cheese whiz spread on it and sliced green olives with pimentos.
Oh.
And I looked at that tray and said, how hungry was somebody to put that together? And I am told by all sorts of Norwegians that this is great food and it's wonderful. We should have it at all funerals. And I'm thinking, that's not really food. But I also come from the land of head cheese and blood sausage, so I don't have a lot of room to argue. I'll have to let that go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I can bring that in with the raw milk. And if we're 2% drinkers, I'm going to say raw milk, which is a whole milk, is going to be a lot different flavor and texture, gentlemen.
If you dare bring any of that into the studio, you two are gonna have to find a different
I would
producer.
like to try raw milk, just just to see.
You can bring Dean some raw milk. I will not be participating.
Right.
In raw milk.
I've had it. I'm still buying pasteurized milk though. But
it makes more sense.
Everybody has a difference.
Right.
Well, and the whole point of today is just simply pasteurization. What it does, right? It's just heating that milk up, killing any bacteria that might be in there. Yes, from one of our listeners, he says, "Stop talking crazy. We all know that milk comes from a grocery store, not a cow." So apparently, my need to educate needs to continue on. We need to do more work with people. And we'll probably get a chance to do that next week as we roll back into Weather and Ag in Focus after we have the Memorial Day holiday. We've got lots of stuff coming up, not only with On the Action Block with Steffes Group, but we'll also have Chris Sherman in from Tech Support Farm. We will have kind of a preparatory week as we get ready for the State FFA Convention, which will follow shortly after that. We've got a whole lineup of guests for next week. There's going to be quite a bit. And Wednesday Weather Trivia, Todd Woodbury from Woodbury Hatchery in Winemere. There's a lot coming up.
All right, fantastic. Well, again, we've got rain moving into the area here shortly. It's going to be a rainy late afternoon and through the early overnight hours. But after that, a nice Memorial Day weekend. Get out and enjoy it. We'll see you back here on Tuesday.